So dear friends, we are already in the new year. A week is over and we find ourselves beginning once again with this routine of ours. And in this routine, as it were, there are certain things which are special, and perhaps we as the parishioners or the people of this Archdiocese have something or other that keeps us tickling, that keeps us going, and that keeps us improving also our status, our state of life. This week, or perhaps this weekend, we have the last feast of the Christmas, that's called the Baptism of Jesus. With that, the Christmas season closes and we begin what's called the ordinary time of the year till we come to the first Sunday of Lent, that will be this year in the month of March also. So my dear friends, what does it mean, baptism for us and baptism for Jesus? Perhaps we have to start the other way about it. Baptism for Jesus and baptism for us. The baptism of Jesus was an important event in Jesus' life. We can call it a milestone, a mark that made him feel something special about it. First of all, what is baptism? The word baptizare means to bathe, to be soaked into the water. And therefore Jesus undergoes this baptism, and baptism is basically to free us from sins, our original sin and the other sins, at the same time to make us a member of the family of God. Perhaps we can say that Jesus didn't need this. There was no need of a baptism for Jesus because he is the one who baptizes others. We see in the Gospel, Luke chapter 3, verse 15 onwards, we see that St. John the Baptist has been baptizing the people. In fact, the first reading of Isaiah also speaks about John the Baptist, a voice in the wilderness, a prophetic voice as it were. And we find in the Gospel that John the Baptist is baptizing the people. And then when people ask him, "Who are you?" he says, "I am nobody. I am not even worthy to clean the shoes or perhaps clean the feet of the one who is coming after me. I am just a voice in the wilderness preparing a way for him." But then we see that Jesus himself submits to this baptism of St. John the Baptist, which was basically, as I said, cleansing of the sins of the persons. Many people came to St. John, and Jesus also came, and though perhaps both of them recognized each other, Jesus submits himself in all humility to this baptism of Jesus. And so what does baptism of Jesus mean to Jesus himself and to us? You know, baptism for Jesus was the establishment of his personality, we can say of his dignity, assertion of his special status. His identity was in a way identified. So therefore, just as a person becomes king when he is crowned as a king, a Christian becomes a king when he is baptized. When we are baptized, we get this dignity of being the sons of God, the sons of this community of the church. We become brothers to each other. So therefore, just as Jesus gained his dignity, so also for us Christians, the baptism gives us our dignity, or rather establishes our identity as certain persons. Secondly, we speak of the Spirit. When the Spirit came upon Jesus, the next chapter, Jesus says that the Spirit of the Lord is upon me. And so the Holy Spirit, the second person of the Holy Trinity, along with Jesus working together, as it were, is a powerful force. That Jesus is not just a human, but divine, and even in his humanity, the Spirit works with him, and therefore the work of the Holy Spirit. In our baptism, we receive the Holy Spirit, and so we also perhaps become special, becomes empowered, becomes powerful because of the Spirit. Thirdly, we speak about the humility of Jesus. He never considered himself as great. In Philippians chapter 2, St. Paul says, he emptied himself and took the form of a slave. So also coming before St. John the Baptist, who is much below him, because John the Baptist himself says, I am not worthy to clean his feet or his sandals. But then, why does Jesus bow before John the Baptist? Why does he go and stand in the queue as a sinner? The humility of Jesus. And therefore, our own baptism also gives us not only this identity of being kings, but also as servants. The king as a servant, the servanthood of the kingship that we speak of. And therefore, Jesus gives us this, the special, as it were, that our greatness, our kingship consists in our humility. And finally, also, we speak of what we call the radiation of God's love. We see in this gospel, when the Spirit is coming down upon Jesus, the voice is heard from heaven, this is my beloved Son. This is my beloved daughter. So therefore, like Jesus, for all of us in baptism, God the Father owns us as His own, as His brothers and as His sons and daughters, and for us we are brothers and sisters. No wonder St. Paul, in his letter to the Romans, chapter 8, he says that we can call God Abba, or Father, like a child. And therefore, this loving relationship of God with us begins with our baptism. So therefore, the baptism of Jesus is as important as the baptism of every person of ours, that we also get these elements from Jesus, who is baptized today, and we celebrate his feast of the baptism of our Lord. I now take you to a special saint that we celebrate on 14th of January. He is called Saint Devasahayam Pillai. Devasahayam, the servant of God. And fortunately, it coincides also with the feast of Infant Jesus that we celebrate on 14th of January every year. And this was also the martyrdom day of Saint Devasahayam. Devasahayam was born in Kanyakumari, the end of the Indian coast, in December 1712. And he was martyred in Travancore on 14th January 1752, which means he lived his life, he ran his race, we can say, just for 40 years. For 40 years of his life. We are told he was born in a very noble family, a feudal or kingly family, and therefore he almost was in the court, the kingly court. And as he grew up also as a courtier, as an important person of the king's court. And therefore the king of that time, called as Martanda Verma, was very fond of him, made him an official of the court itself. But Devasahayam, he meets God. Somehow he comes across the Christian scriptures, and through some missionary, he is so much attracted to Christianity that he says, I have found my way. Like in the gospel, you see the parable, a man who's looking out for a pearl, and when he finds it, he is ready to sacrifice everything in the world in order to buy that pearl. That was the story of Devasahayam. He said, I have found my pearl. I have found the person that I was looking for. Nothing else counts. And therefore this creates a lot of imbalance, or perhaps a disturbance in the court. In circumstances or in conditions that are completely contrary to the Christian tradition, a person becoming a Christian, a non-Catholic atmosphere, naturally he doesn't want to do any evil things. He doesn't want to do the pleasures of the world, and this disturbs many people and disturbs also the king. In fact, the courtiers go and complain about this new man. He is completely changed after he embraced Christianity, that he does not become one of us. He is not even sort of joining us in our festivities. Such a lot of complaints went. The king tried to persuade him, but in the end, the king said he deserves to die. So therefore, he was tortured a lot. When you go to the dice of Kottar and also the dice of Kulutarai, you see so many places that he has been. There's a hill where he was supposed to have been martyred. There's a well where a spring of water is seen. The place of his burial in the church. There are so many things that stand witnesses to Saint Devasahayam. And he was martyred in Travancore, as I said. But when he was baptized or when he became a Christian, the actual name that he took was Lazar. But then Devasahayam is almost a translation of this word Lazarus, a beggar that we know that in the parable that Jesus told that he was ready to take those crumbs that were fallen from the table of the big people, rich people. But then when he dies, the parable ends and says that he was with Abraham in heaven, Lazarus, and those rich people were down there. And they asked, even a shadow of him, even a drop of water dropped from there may convert us. But then Abraham tells him, your time is over. You had the prophets, you had so many people to convert you. So therefore, this particular Devasahayam, translated from Lazar, takes this special name to say that I am a servant of God. So therefore, a great saint. I have been to his place last year along with our bishop's house fathers, and I was very much touched by his story and also by the witnesses, by the things that are there. And as you know, the Holy Father has made him a saint, and not only that, he becomes now perhaps shortly the patron saint of the laity in India. We are used to priests and nuns becoming saints, but this man, as a layman, he gives his life, he does his duty to the country, to his kingdom, at the same time duty to God. Love the love of God and love of the country or love of this kingdom. Both he does. And that's the role of every lay person, to exercise his duty and responsibility in the world, at the same time serve God. So I wish all those people who are going for these pilgrimages, perhaps you could also make a pilgrimage to the place of Devasahayam in Kottar and Kulutarai. I now speak to you the feast that is remembered in our Archdiocese on 14th of January is the feast of Infant Jesus. Perhaps the date has come accidentally over the history, but as I've explained earlier, this statue of Infant Jesus, which became a heritage of a family in Prague, Czech Republic, and later on it was entrusted to the Carmelites. And from the Carmelites, the spirituality of the Infant Jesus came to the fore, and it spread to different parts of the world. In our own country, the Nasik shrine is considered the first shrine of the Infant Jesus, and now we have in Bangalore the biggest shrine in South India. So the feast falls on 14th of January, and I know that thousands of people will be going there. And so keep in mind what we call the devotion of this Infant Jesus, especially to be humble, to be simple, and to love our children, because we also are like children before God. And so that day in our shrine of Infant Jesus at Vivekannagar, there will be masses whole day in different languages, different groups, even for our children. And enough arrangements have been made for other pilgrims to come, especially for parking, which is close by. Places have been taken, but at the same time, there is space and silence. We want silence also in the shrine, so that all of you that you go get this spiritual experience. And I'm happy to see that it's not only for the Christians, but also for the non-Christians. It becomes a big devotion, a day of devotion. And our media or online media, or ACC, Archdiocesan Communication Center, is organizing special screening, as it were, on the WhatsApp and the other media in order to spread the fragrance of infant Jesus everywhere. In the evening, we have the last function of the day on the 14th is what's called the car procession, beautifully decorated and taken into the streets of Vivek Nagar in different places, and with that we close the feast. So I wish you a very happy feast of the infant Jesus. May this love and affection for infant Jesus continue and grow in your families. There's something else in this week that is coming up, what we call from the coming week also, 18th to 25th, I have already referred to it, what's called the Unity Octave Day. It's an opportunity, or perhaps a chance given to all the Christians to come together. But there are many things that are sort of common among us, but there are many things that are separating us also, and especially the different denominations, different churches. The Catholic Church is divided, split into so many groups, and therefore, after the mind of Jesus himself, that they all may be one, we pray for this unity. And therefore this unity octave or unity prayer octave is done along with the Christians, the denomination, the different churches, the different pastors, priests together, and it's a 7-day prayer program in different churches. We see on the screen, you will see where the Unity Octave prayers are celebrated, and therefore it would be nice on our part, when it is in our church we invite the others, when it is in the other churches, the other denominational churches, we also make an effort to go there. We also make an effort to spend some time with the other people, and especially to ask God for this grace of praying together and also praying in harmony with each other. So therefore I just read out the places where the Unity Octave prayer will be heard. On 18th it will be in the St. Joseph's Church, our church is Bryant Square. On 19th January, that's Sunday, it will be St. Andrew's Church, CSI Church, that's on Cubbon Road, Bangalore. And on the 20th January, it will be in Milpa Telugu Church, that is Baptist Church, and on Tuesday 21st it will be in AG Worship House, that's in Coxtown. On Wednesday 22nd January it will be Seventh Day Adventist Church, it will be in Frasertown, and Thursday 23rd January it will be in the Marian Palya Deanery, it will be in the Bishop's house there. It's behind, it's in Dodgubi farmhouse, and Pastor Samuel will be conducting it. And Friday 24th January it will be Bethel Bangalore Ministry Church, that's in Benerghatta Road. And the last day on 25th it will be in East Marthoma Church, and it will be in MEG Maruti Seva Nagar, Bangalore. So these 8 days in different places, and we have mentioned also in the circulars under which deanery these churches or these celebrations, the Protestant churches would come. And so knowing which deanery it comes, it would be nice if the dean along with the priests, along with the people, go to these churches and make our presence felt, and surely there might be some spark of unity among us, harmony among us. I now speak to you about what's called the Family Bible Literacy Program. You know what is family? You know what is Bible? And so Family Bible Literacy Program is helping the family to know the Bible a little more. And knowing the Bible, St. Jerome says this very clearly, ignorance of the Bible is ignorance of God Himself. And therefore, if we want to learn literacy, we call it literacy, ABCD. So if you want to learn the Bible, and especially read it in the family, there will be this special opportunity that is given on this Sunday, 12th Sunday, And this Sunday, very especially because the next Sunday, 19th, is considered as the Bible Sunday. And so for this Sunday, for the literacy program, it will take place in Palana Bhavan from 2:30 to 4 p.m. and about 100 participants from 25 parishes are expected. And the program activities, there will be grand finale of the Bible quiz for the family, Bible proclamation, and assembling of the handwritten Bible. You will imagine that the Bible has been handwritten also by some of our children, about by 40 children. And so putting together these, and these children come from different parishes, about 12 parishes. So therefore this Bible literacy program will be conducted in Palana Bhavan. Please remember the date, 12th January, and the time is 2:30 to 4 p.m. Here we are welcome to participate, we are welcome to witness, and also perhaps we also to get an idea that we can start also in the houses, in our families, the Bible reading and Bible literacy. In Kannada there is the beautiful saying, Maneya Madala Patashale. The house is the first school, and it's the school not only for education, for mathematics, for languages. The house is the first school also for Bible, the Bible literacy program. So therefore it has been conducted by the Bible Commission, and Father Jeevan Prasad is the secretary of this commission, who is working hard to popularize the Bible in the families and in the church. I now come to my last point, what's called the Jewel of the Archdiocese. The Jewel of the Archdiocese, as you know, is a special program, or rather a special item that we keep mentioning in order to tell the people that we have something very special in our dioceses. Not that it is not present in other dioceses, but it's important to note and acknowledge this richness, this greatness, this pearl that is there, this jewel that is there in our Archdiocese. And you'll be surprised that this jewel is something special. Let me give a little background. In this year of the Jubilee, the Holy Father Pope Francis has requested the diocese to name some churches as Jubilee pilgrimage places. And we have named 5 places like that. The Cathedral Church, the Infant Jesus Church, the St. Mary's Basilica, the Haravali Church, and also what we call the church at KGF in Urgum, Our Lady of Mines Church. For us it's easy and very identifiable to go to the churches, to go to the basilicas. We all like and we all go. But the Holy Father gives another angle to our pilgrimage. And this year he has said that let us go to the places that have dim hope. We can almost say there is no hope. Getting admitted to those houses is as good as a long wait to die, a long wait of suffering. There is no hope. But then exactly where there is no hope, the Christian has got no hope. Looking at these people now who are not only surviving, but also who are active, we can say there is more hope for me. I have my feet, I have my legs, I have my mouth. But when you see these people who don't have these faculties but still are happy or happily looked after. So therefore, these are the 7 places in our diocese which we have named where people can go, visit, and also gain special indulgence like the other pilgrimage centers that we go. So in the spirit of the Jubilee year, the Holy Father has also invited the faithful to direct their hearts and steps to places where hope is often very dim. These are places where the most vulnerable members of our society reside, offering us a unique opportunity to encounter Christ in the marginalized and to extend His love through our presence and prayers, and thus become sign and symbol of hope to the people who visit these places. Once I have said, I think many other times, about this experience of Mother Teresa herself, when she was picking up one man from the gutter. A person who was close by, perhaps a newspaper person, asked Mother Teresa, why do you waste your time over these who have fallen in the gutter? It's not your job. The municipality or the corporation, the truck will come and they take them and go. You have other works to do. You have more greater works to do. And Mother Teresa looks at him and says, I'm picking up this person because in his face, I see the face of God. I see the face of God. So this is what is happening in these places where we will go and find God as it were in the persons. And so we have named 7 such places, and I have given in my circular. And the 6th place is Dina Seva Charitable Trust, or Dina Sevana Sabha, we call it. And so this particular place will be a very special place for each one of us to go there. What is Dina Sevana Sabha? It means servants of the poor. Dina Seva Sabha is a servant's work that is being done by our sisters of what we call DSS sisters, Dina Sevana Sabha sisters. Where are they? They are in Bangalore, in Kotanur. And so we have named their house of these children's house that is being taken care of, especially for the HIV children. The children who are suffering from HIV. It's no fault of theirs. Because of perhaps circumstances, they have been affected, but it is very precarious for them, and the sisters are taking care of them. And so this house we have especially named as a house of the poor, the house of the poor children, looked after very princely and queenly, kingly, we can say. A little history of this house in our Archdiocese. The congregation of the DSS, known as Dina Sevana Sabha, that's the servants of the poor, was founded in 1969 by a visionary, a German sister called Mother Petra Dina Dasi. She took her name as Dina Dasi, a servant of the poor. In Kannur, that's in Kerala, with a motto of service in charity and property and poverty. The congregation has more than 110 branches in all over the world. And they run orphanages, mentally challenged house centers, visually impaired, deaf and dumb, and they also looked after the destitutes, aged, terminally ill patients, etc. And so these are what we call the rejected from the society. Those who have no hope, and these sisters lift them up, as it were, and give them a very special hope, not only for them, but for those who have entered. I have heard that many of the people who have come and said that if these children who have no hope are smiling today, what's wrong with me? I have not that much of problems, but I have taken everything on my head. If everything is depending on me, so like the children, make us smile and give us hope. And so this house in Bangalore, it's in Kotanur in Bangalore, it's the home for HIV infected children. This center was established in March 2001 by late mother, a German sister, Willigard Dina Sevika. This home provides protection and individual care, psychological and moral support to the HIV infected children, and they help the children as well as their relatives and friends to face the shock and social stigma associated with HIV, AIDS, and the children are helped to grow in an emotionally healthy atmosphere. I am told this house of the sisters it's called the Infant Jesus Children's Home. The children are like the infant Jesus. We can't judge them because of their sickness, but like infant Jesus, they are always smiling. They are also taken care of. And so in this Infant Jesus Children's Home, which the DSS sisters are running, at present I am told there are 52 children and 29 women are residing in this campus. They get admissions from different places. The NGOs bring some children, the hospitals, many people of these babies are not wanted. They have brought their individuals. The government homes also send some children there. And these children are cared in their state of total helplessness or hopelessness, giving hope to the future in a homely environment free of charge and irrespective of caste, creed and religion. It's not only for the Catholics that are taken care of, irrespective of this one. And therefore, the sisters are running it freely, which means they depend on the on the donations, on the support of the public, and let us be generous. The families who would like to contribute to them should surely be very happy to. They would be very happy to take you as their partners. The aim of the institution is to give holistic care to the children and enable them to live in peace, joy, and happiness. It's almost 24 years they are running, and they are stepping into the Jubilee year next year. Mother Petra Dinadasi legacy stands as a testament to the transformative power of compassion and unwavering dedication to serving those in need. Mother Petra has got a beautiful word, beautiful sentence. Works of charity are not merely helps to the poor. Many a time we think that we are helping the poor, we are giving, I am giving, and I am sort of bending myself, to reach here. I mean, we talk so many things, even for small coins that we give. But Mother Petra says, works of charity are not merely helps to the poor, but a transformation to be creative and proactive and to go to the root of poverty. Why they are poor, why they are abandoned, why they are perhaps given a different type of treatment, as it were, and to find out means to remove its causes. We are all part of this system. That some of our children or some of our women are suffering from AIDS or HIV. It's because the society has become a little what we call murky, dirty, and therefore this has been communicated also to the children for no fault of theirs, and therefore we are also part of this system. And I consider this, as I said, the DSS house, Infant Jesus shrine that we speak of is as good as also this Infant Jesus home for the children is as good as also the Infant Jesus shrine. We bow at Jesus in a hopeless situation in these places, and the children who are looked after by these our sisters will surely be a sign of blessing for us, and that's why I call it a jewel of the Archdiocese. And those of you who surely in this year we have suggested that besides visiting the churches and basilicas, please go to these 7 places which I have mentioned in my circular, and I will be slowly opening out each of these places of where there is dim hope but full of hope, I would say, for you to visit and to gain not only the sympathy or to give a little of consolation for these people, but also to gain or to profit in our hearts very spiritually for this gift or pearl of the Archdiocese.
The Shepherd's Voice, which is being presented by our beloved Archbishop, Most Reverend Dr. Peter Machado, the Archbishop of Bangalore, who takes so much of interest and concern in order to bring the various topics, the contextual aspects, in order to inform, educate, and catechize all of us, the priests, the religious, and faithful of this vast Archdiocese. And I'm sure you are enjoying this program, Shepherd's Voice, and I request each one of you to share with your other colleagues, friends, and family and relatives, near and dear ones, so that everyone in this Archdiocese can be more closer to listen to the Archbishop on this Shepherd's Voice, the weekly feature. My dear friends, as I've always told, that this is a wonderful platform wherein we can connect to the Shepherd of this Archdiocese, wherein he brings in the interesting topics in order to increase our devotion and love towards God, and also to know the spiritual matters that concerns our faith. In a very special way, you are most welcome to ask your questions, queries, and you can send them to us at archdblr@gmail.com, and you will also see our mobile number in and through which you can connect with our media center, Ave Studios, and the Archdiocesan Communication Center. Please do write to us your feedback, your opinions. Thank you. Continue to watch and continue to share with others.